the Andy and Dave Daily right here on the Muskegon channel. I'm Andy O'Reilly. There's Dave Cackley. Welcome to Tuesday. I did epic things yesterday.
Epic things.
Epic.
What epic things did you do
We got
to
done with our little show, our little
mhm,
shtick, if you will.
mhm.
And I got an email while we were recording saying that the guy I was supposed to meet at 11 couldn't quite make it and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, great. So I'm sitting there at like 10 o'clock and I'm thinking to myself, I don't have anything to do till 3. I went right down to the TV room in the basement. I turned on some black and white TV. I covered up in
Oh,
a
that's good.
blanket and right back to sleep I went.
That's very because yesterday was a good, nice gray day to
Oh,
just kind of fall asleep watching old timey shows.
dude.
That's
And I got to tell you, too, I was elated to see a because sometimes programs go away on your
mhm.
on demand platform and then they come back and then there was a series of documentaries made in the 50s by Pathé. You know what Pathé is?
No.
Um, Remember when newsreels came out in the theaters and people would
Right,
watch? And
yeah.
around here we had
Mhm.
Universal newsreels,
Everybody talked fast.
and I loved it.
The Germans
I love those. I
are
love them.
losing World War II.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Ed Hurley was the guy that did most of ours here,
Hmm.
but Pathé was the European and British version of the newsreels, and they go back even a little further than Americans do. Um,
Interesting.
they were on Amazon forever, and then they were gone, not available in this area or in this market or region or whatever. And it pissed me right off.
That's odd with streaming
I
it
don't
would be
get why they
available.
do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
like
they just figure there's not as much interest
I don't know,
over here.
or
Could be
maybe their
what I'd
agreement
assume.
with whoever owns the rights to the program runs out or
Mhm.
whatever. I don't know. But finally, it circles back, and it's like you can now buy these shows again. And I didn't give shit one if they would have been $50 a piece to buy the series. Bang, 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 right on down the line,
Mhm.
bought them, and perfect for napping. Just
Oh, fantastic.
what was
You know,
life like in the 18 and 1900s? And
right.
to me, to look at that and see, even in the late 1800s, early 1900s, it was just as chaotic and packed and
Oh,
busy.
yeah.
And I mean, but you
It's
got to think, not only was it just as maddening as what we're used to now, you had none of the convenience of today.
oh, right.
Dude, you had people riding up and down the main street in horses, and
Mhm.
then cars started to come in. Then you
Yeah.
got traffic with cars and horses and trucks and
Mhm.
buses and oh, no
Can you imagine
phones. I
how
mean,
awful
God, what a life that had
awful
to
it
be.
how awful it must have smelled? That's one thing whenever I see old thing like from way, way back, I
Yeah.
can't I gotta believe if you were to prop any one of us back way back then, I think the first thing that would really be very apparent is the stench, which I gotta believe was awful. I
Oh,
mean, you're used to it living in that era or living in that time. It's like when we grew up, cigarette smoke. You got like I was totally used to it. I had inhaled several packs by the age of 6.
yep.
Um, so
I
that's one of those things that you just
yeah. I just
it's it's an interesting time capsule.
Nothing has changed, even though everything's gotten easier. It's just still as hectic and chaotic and cramped
Yeah.
and disorganized and everything.
Hmm.
I love going back to that time in history and looking at life. I really do.
Yeah, speaking of history, I feel like because I don't know if we discussed the 9/11 anniversary yesterday. I
No,
don't
we
think
we
we did.
Nope.
Like we just kind of
We
it was
just
one of
went
those
on
things.
about
It's
our
like
business.
we've gotten so far removed from it. It's like for the first time, it's feeling like almost the distant past now, which is odd because for the longest time, it felt like it just happened. It's like, can you believe it's been 5 years? Can you believe it's been 10 years? Can you believe it's been 15, even when we hit 20? And now it kind of feels past,
I
like
I'll give you
really
that to a
past.
degree, but I also think too that we've gone through some other pretty big national tragedies between now and then, and that kind of resets the tone um,
Yeah,
as
I mean,
to huge tragedy. Not
Yeah,
only that,
yeah.
but the time and distance between it, and then our own national discord has fallen apart.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, no question.
so to
People can't agree to disagree anymore.
well,
That's the biggest thing to me. It's like you can have a point of view and somebody else can have a point of view, and that used to be okay. Now, your point of view says something about, like, if you disagree with me, that says something about me. If I have an idea that's different from your idea, because people get, this is what happens is people get married to ideas, and they're just thoughts. They're just, maybe it's this instead of, but they get, people get dug in and married to, no, 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 it's definitely this thing, and if you don't agree with me, you're horrible. Because they develop a certain kind of identification with that, and I don't think that's a positive. I don't think that's a positive change at all.
well,
You know,
there
what
are
do you? I
some
mean,
there are some who are looking at what's happening in our country as what got what got 9/11 here in the first place, factioning. I mean, we're seeing groups splinter off. We're seeing groups um, radicalize themselves. We're seeing uh, more and more of what we fear. I believe
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um,
I think
it's
that's
just
probably at least partially true.
you know so
I, you know,
it's just a lot to
again,
a lot to rethink. And 9/11, yeah,
yeah,
it's been a while, but we've been through so much since that
you know,
it's going to start to be a secondary thought.
yeah, no question. I think a lot of it goes back to and I don't know that we should have then. Obviously, we should have in the aftermath of that with the wars we were fighting that we shouldn't have been fighting post 9/11. That's become readily apparent. But the lack of trust
Yep.
that we have in leadership because they've proven themselves untrustworthy across the board. So until there's some sort of comeuppance, some sort of transparency of or an apology, because I'm a very forgiving individual. I you
Well,
can earn my you can earn my trust back, but I ain't giving it to you.
right,
I'm not going to give it to you. You have to go through some, you know what? We effed this up. It's okay because people screw up all the time.
right.
People do the wrong things, they behave the wrong way. But there's a lot of people just want to, like, oh well, let's just shove this under the carpet and pretend like it didn't happen. No, it happened. We know it happened. We know what you did, and we don't trust you anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a large faction of the country.
Well,
And you got to be able, you gotta take steps to earn the trust of the people back, or that they're just not going to go along.
what would you like an apology for?
I like an apology for a lot of things. I'd like the news organ. I would like politicians. I would. This is what, and I think this is on us. I really do believe this is on us. We should expect more from the people we put into these positions.
Yeah.
We've gotten way too comfortable with lies and distortions and people who don't have our best. And this goes with both. And a lot of people accuse me of both sidesism all the time or riding the fence. That's because it's true. It's because I don't care if you're talking about Republicans or Democrats in this two party fake system that we have. Uh, it's it, there are corruptible elements that you have to deal with. And once you get further away from just like your city councils, which maybe you probably have, the more local it is, the more trust you have. I think the further out you get, and the further up the chain you get from a governmental aspect, the corruption just gets higher and higher and higher, and less trustworthy. Again, I put that on us, and I put it on our, the former journalistic institution, which has long since died. And instead of it's just you've got, hey, I'm giving you talking points from this side, or I'm giving you talking points from this side, and they become cheerleaders for either the left or the right, depending on uh, what you're watching, what you're viewing. There is no objectivity anymore. I'd like
Well,
to see objectivity
that's corporate
come back.
America. That's
Yeah,
that's the
that's
bottom line driven news.
well, everybody's driven by it's like lobbyists. I mean, and the lobbyists, I understand you got a cause and you want to, you know, you want attention paid, and sometimes you need
And I get
monetary
that, and
donations. I get
to
that
have
too.
somebody there to influence decisions
Mhm.
is the role of a lobbyist. This is why this is
Yeah,
important to us.
right.
But what I
Yeah.
just said is that corporate news is the problem
Mhm.
here because they're
Yeah.
worried
Oh, no
about the
question.
bottom line before they are the
Mhm.
accuracy of what they're talking about.
And that's why people more and more are going to independent sources, which in and of themselves can have some issues too, but they're at least putting forth the effort of giving you. It's not always going to be correct, but at least you don't have the idea that they're trying to snow you or get something by you. And I think that's a positive. Ultimately, that's where this is all going. It's all going to independence, like what we've been doing here for the
Yeah.
past few years now, and this is just where it's heading. What is going on though, news wise? The maker of 20. No, I'm going to save that for the second story.
Okay.
I'm going to
All right.
switch this up. Walt Disney and Charter Communications resolved their fight just in time for Monday Night Football. The two sides announced a resolution on Monday, restoring ESPN to some 15 million cable subscribers across the country. The deal guarantees Disney over $2 billion in fees, while Charter will gain entry into the streaming world, which has encouraged millions, ironically, to cut off cable, just chop that cord in half. So we'll see if that what that does for. I mean, a lot of people are just dumping cable, and some are dumping satellite too. So it's it's getting tough out there for those trying to sell charter or sell
Well,
any of these
we
packages,
we
because they're getting
we
more
have
and more expensive.
Xfinity, and we
Mm-hmm.
use everything through our modem, but we get the
Mm-hmm.
Xfinity app to get some of the
Yeah.
programs that are available, like baseball
Right.
and things like that. So I understand the level of employment that Xfinity and Charter bring, and I think to keep those jobs is important. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll find a way to keep being an Xfinity customer. But do I need 500 channels of
Mm-hmm.
home
Really?
improvement contest shows
No.
and baking shows and all that? Hell no, I don't.
No. It'd be
That is
nice to
just
go a
trash
la carte.
programming that fills dead air
Yeah.
on too many TV stations.
It's content. Yep. It's all just, hey, we need some
Just
content.
garbage.
Let's throw this shit at the wall.
Hmm.
Exactly. The maker of Twinkies and Ho Hos is selling out to jam and jelly. Smuckers has agreed to purchase Hostess brands, the J.M. Smuckers company. Doesn't that sound like a cartoon? Like a J.M. Smuckers here?
Well, you're back to that same voice.
Yeah, it does. Well, it sounds like 1940s ish
No, it
stuff.
doesn't. Come
Anyway,
on now. Come
they
on.
will acquire all outstanding shares of Hostess brands for cash and stock. The transaction is valued at a little under, excuse me, 6 billion. I think it's 5.6 billion. Hey, as long as they don't mess with the Twinkies, I do like myself an occasional
I'll
Twinkie, because
I'll tell
I
you what's been
consider it
messed with. Oreos.
I really like
Oreos.
too much shit in the middle, or
No.
are we going too, what is
Oreos.
it?
Oreos today. If you want an Oreo that reminds you of an Oreo, you have to
Mm.
buy the mega stuffed Oreos. Double stuffed don't
That
do
does
it. Regular
mega stuff.
Oreos.
That's too much shit in the middle.
No, 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 no.
It's
See, I'm an
overcut.
Oreo
It
expert,
takes. Oh
and the
Jesus.
way that they've scaled back Oreos and you remember when they would tell you that, oh, I ate some Oreos, I did a line, and you ate the whole line of Oreos.
Mm.
There's
Well, I
8
never
in a
ate the
line
whole line
now.
of Oreos, but yeah, that seems okay. I don't mind portion sizes shrinking, because we could
Yeah, well,
all
you're
do.
still paying $6 a box for
Yeah,
Oreos
yeah.
with
Well,
the
that's
portion size
inflation.
shrinking.
Yeah,
You're a
that's
Dollar
that's
General
with
shopper.
everything
Way
now.
to go.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
am a Dollar General shopper, 100%. But
Sucker.
we didn't need I've always said we don't need the double stuff. We never needed
Yes, we
we
did.
needed the regular Oreo with just a little bit of cream, because it's not supposed to overpower the chocolate. That's my problem with the double stuff. There's too much cream in there. Yeah, let's keep the two sides kind of equal, and let's not have one overpowering the other when it comes to your Oreo delights.
Okay, Rob Lowe.
It's just. I'm
You
sorry. It's
keep
just.
talking about your diet. Perfect. All meat
I'm not
diet.
talking. No, no, it's not. I'm not talking about diet. I'm just saying in general. I think it tastes better.
No, you're wrong.
I like having. I like having the balance of the chocolate and the cream, and not because I don't want to have double chocolate and just a little bit of cream. I want to have kind of like, you know, an equal amount of both. Why can't I
Mega
have
stuffed
both? Why does
Oreos are what you have to have.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You no,
Trust me.
absolutely not.
Look at me and look at
Finally,
you, and let the audience decide who knows their Mega Oreo.
okay.
better.
I know. First of all, I know cookies and chocolate chip. First of all, Nestle Toll House chocolate chips are the only cookie that needs to exist.
You know nothing.
If I were running things,
Thank
I
you.
would just. That's all we're having. We're not throwing walnuts in there. We're not throwing bullshit raisins. Just Toll House chocolate chips.
Okay.
Don't need fruit in my cookie. That's ridiculous. Finally, suspended MSU football coach Mel Tucker fighting back against accusations of sexual harassment. Tucker says that the allegations made by activist Brenda Tracy are, quote, completely false and fall outside the scope of the university and Title IX. Tucker maintains the relationship was consensual. He also calls the upcoming hearing on October 5th a sham. Tracy says she welcomes cross-examination from Tucker's attorneys and encourages Tucker to do the same. She also accuses Tucker of victim blaming. The more that I hear about this, again, Tucker should be suspended for exercising incredibly stupid judgment, getting involved with somebody who could be viewed as a subordinate, who comes to your campus to talk about her experiences involving sexual assault and all this. And she did the same thing on, I mean, like she's done this with universities across the country, and good for her. That said, there seems to be more coming out that this is not as much cut and dried as maybe we initially thought. And I think this is going to get really, really super ugly. She's saying, he's saying that she initiated the relationship. She sent him photos. I don't know if those photos exist. This is all alleged stuff. So this could get really, really super ugly. It's not going to be a good look for Tucker. Could possibly not be a good look for this woman, and it definitely isn't going to be a good look for Michigan State.
Well, we shall see.
But the whole thing is just still kind of gross. Sports. Jets beat the Bills on Monday Night Football, but lose Aaron Rodgers possibly for the season. The 39-year-old went down with a possible Achilles injury. Fourth play of the game. Could be a sad end to a Hall of Fame career, but to be continued on that. That's sports.
All right. It is Jeopardy time. It's College Towns again today for 600. Speaking of college, this could be your day. It could be
my day yesterday.
You never know. This city that's home to Brigham Young University was originally known as Fort Utah. Fort Utah,
I believe we're looking for Provo. The answer is Provo.
How did you know that? Wow.
Because I know my college towns.
47,000 in the hole. Wow. Good for you. That's an Up With People day right there, Dave Cackley.
I am. So you throw me a hanging curve. I gotta stripe that thing out of the park.
Do your old newsman impression one more time. I'm fascinated.
No, I'm not going to do it, Andy. You can't make me. I'm not your dancing monkey today.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Happy Tuesday, Muskegon. Cool weather will stick around over the next few days, so let's take a look at your forecast brought to you by Trinity Health. Starting out with your weather headlines, we will have isolated showers going into Tuesday morning, but most, if not all of Tuesday, especially during the afternoon, will be dry. Only a few showers will be possible during the morning, but most of those will be leaving during the afternoon, like I said. And we will stay cool as that storm system departs. We'll only be in the 60s today, and we'll likely stay into the 60s through at least Thursday, until warmer and drier weather will return by the weekend, and it looks mostly dry for the next week or so. So like I said, highs today will likely stay in the 60s, mid-60s for the most part, maybe upper 60s further inland you go. So for your Tuesday, expect a high of 66 with a few isolated showers possibly during the morning hours, but during the afternoon will stay mostly cloudy, maybe partly cloudy late in the day, and then by the overnight hours will cool down to 50 degrees with a northerly wind, with mostly clear skies developing later in the night. Now looking at the latest 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, this is for September 16th through September 20th, and it looks like average, if not maybe slightly below average temperatures are expected during that time. So expect mid-September to mostly have temperatures in the lower 70s to upper 60s. And that's reflected in the 7-day forecast as well. You can see early next week, highs for the most part will be right around 70, and that should be the case for much of the next 7 days, besides the next couple of days where we'll likely stay in the mid to maybe even low 60s, especially on Wednesday. Besides that, though, it looks pretty dry, with really the only chance of rain being today. And that's your Tuesday forecast, brought to you by Trinity Health on the Muskegon channel. And I'm Cole Woods Weather, and have a wonderful day.